is stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. My feet have come too far for you to tie them to the ground. You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Set my sights on where I'm going at and turn it back around. You can't stop me. You can't tell me the deck is stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. My feet have come too far for you to tie them to the ground. You can't stop me now. Can't stop me now. Set my sights on where I'm going at and turn it back around. You can't stop me.
Well, good evening. Welcome to the party. So, with me tonight, today, sorry guys, today.
I don't know, but that song is fire.
Oh, yes, I love that song.
I was like,
We rock it. So, with me tonight is the Texas Medium. How are you, darling? We've got some important stuff going on today.
I am fabulous. How are you, darling?
Doing amazing, trying to get everything blasted and socialed. I think we've been moving since like 6 this morning, didn't we?
My gosh, I've been moving for the last several weeks that like nonstop, because what we're about to talk about today has literally like lined up everything else in my world of profession. And I've just been like, it's kind of like when the squirrel gathers all of its nuts, before winter and buries them all. It's kind of like that. It's like I had all these nuts buried and I'm unburying them, and then I was doing stuff with it, and I had to get it into a timeline before today.
Yeah. And that was a quick replay and refocus because, we start, it doesn't like they went and said, oh, in 9 months, we're going to do X, Y, Z. And why don't you just start prepping now? No, that's not how a launch of a new product is. No. Lightning hits and we take it on.
Yep.
So tell our audience about yourself, darling, because this is the first time you've been to the coffee shop.
I know. And I love your little coffee shop. And I do have to say that I am from Texas, so we're all about, tea, but my husband is very much so into coffee. And so I just partake in the coffee enthusiasm, knowing that it's probably really good. And I just haven't done coffee because I'll tell my husband, like, well, if I start drinking it and I really like it, then I become one of those coffee people that I always have to have my coffee in the morning. And so I'll just let you do
fun. We do tea too.
Huh?
We actually have a show called Coffee and Tea, and it's where two psychics compare competing views.
Oh, well.
That's on Thursday nights, honey.
Well, here in Texas, Whataburger is a really big deal.
And
this has my tea.
Very cool.
Or it's usually Chick-fil-A. But for whatever reason, I had to go to Whataburger this morning. So I'll be sipping on my Whataburger tea while you do your coffee.
That works just fine. So tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Shelby Carino, and I am an advisor on Keen under Texas Medium Shelby. And basically the long and the short of it is, are we telling them really what happened today, or am I just talking about?
We're telling them what is happening.
Huh?
We're telling them everything today.
Okay. So, let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
In my little profile bio of self.
Yeah.
Gotta go back up on the timeline. You know how psychics work? We go from the future backwards to get to the
Yeah.
beginning. Okay, so basically, I'm a teacher by trade. So teaching is my whole thing, and I was a school teacher for 11 years. I taught 7th grade for 2 years, high school for 3 years of 10th, 11th, and 12th. Then I went to 5th grade for several years, 3rd grade. I was all over the place teaching. And then I just knew there was something else I needed to be doing. I was married at the time to my first husband. I've only had 2. So kept the second one. But basically I was teaching back in the day. I was married. My husband at the time was like, "Oh, Shelby, go find your passion. What do you want to do?" And I had left the teaching world, went into personal fitness training, and then we ended up going through a divorce. This is when I was 30. And well, that was when my whole world of spiritual awakening happened. That big life shift to find your purpose. So went through a divorce, left teaching, got into the wellness industry, did a lot of network marketing back in the day. But in the process of all that, I was really awakening this spiritual side to myself. And I wanted to know, because I'm all about relationships. So I wanted to know, well, what's wrong with me that I keep attracting the same type of guy in my life? And the only thing that kept changing was the wolf in sheep's clothing, right? So it's like, oh, well, okay, when I was 16 and I had this boyfriend, my best friend handed him to me because she didn't want him anymore. So that was my first, relationship experience, was somebody's leftovers.
Right.
Well, his dad was an alcoholic, right? And he didn't have a mom in the picture. So I literally started with like just broken men.
Right.
Then it moved into, after college, I got another boyfriend, and he looked the part. He looked like he was a GQ model. He was like, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do any of that. And then he ended up being a hardcore drug addict. And so an abusive, almost killed me. Went through that whole experience. And then I was like, what is wrong with me? Because I did not have that kind of life growing up. Like,
Right.
I had, my parents were still married, still are, suburban neighborhood, played soccer, did karate my whole life. Like, when you look at it on paper,
Right.
I didn't look like I had,
You shouldn't be having these issues.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I just kind of elevated, and then I met the guy that I married, and he was in radio, which is very interesting. And so met him, we got married, moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And then I got a very big whirlwind experience being with the entertainment industry. And not just music, but also TV, because I was in a TV commercial of nonstop comedy block and whatever. So I got this whole media energy around me.
Right.
And then divorced. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Again,
what am I attracting? And at this point, I'm 30. Well, I have wisdom now, but back in the day, I realized I was undergoing a spiritual awakening. And so my energy was already taking off. And I was already a receiver, because when I met my ex-husband, I had come down with mono. Well, what I realized was I really received all his energy in, and it blew my system out.
Right.
So then I began going on this journey. And so I went into breath work, sound healing, like all of these different modalities in the metaphysical world showed up, because I was like, I am not going to date anybody or do anything until I fix my freaking self, because I don't know what's wrong with this, that I keep attracting that. but I don't want that anymore. And so that's when I was on this spiritual awakening path. So fast forward through the years, go through all this, healing. And well, then I met a psychic. Doesn't everything always happen when we meet a psychic?
Yeah, most likely.
So I'm like tootling along in my life. I left Atlanta, Georgia, had to move back in with my parents at the time. I go through that whole generational shattering of like, I got to heal my family. I got to heal myself. What's wrong with me? Spotlight, kind of thing. And, well, I really thought I had it together at this point. I had developed a website. I had my company business name. I had everything. I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. So I had a friend that is a water shaman. And he was like, Shelby, I'm going to be at this wellness expo and you should come and you should interview my clients after they have an experience with my water service.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's great. Yeah, I'll do that. Well, so I went. I had no money. I was that fake it till you make it.
Right.
So I had $20 in my wallet, cash to eat. I was negative in my bank account. Where I had to drive from where my parents lived to the expo, I had enough gas to get there and back. No joke. And I had no resources but what I had on me.
Right.
And in my car. And I thought this was my first launch, my fresh start.
Right.
So this expo was inside and outside. And I was outside at the time. And this psychic gentleman in his 60s walked up to me and he's looking at me and, we're kind of in a group and he's like, come on, you need to have a reading. Now, anyone in the psychic community, if you've ever had, right? Am I right?
Yes.
If you've ever met a psychic or you have, someone that can see into you and I'm like, no, I don't need a reading. And it was because I didn't have the money.
Right.
And he was like, no, come on, you need to have a reading. And I was like, listen, I was trying to be nice. I was like, listen, I would love to have a reading, but I can't have a reading today. And he just kept poking. Right. And he was doing it in front of everybody else.
Right.
Well, I was embarrassed, right? Because I was like, I can't say that I don't have money. That's embarrassing. Isn't that what happens in the metaphysical world with us people?
Exactly.
We will give everything we have to everybody else. And then we're over here like trying to climb and survive, right? Because we give it all away, right?
Right.
So I was like, so finally I just looked at him and I got angry, and it takes a lot to get me angry. And he was just poking. And finally I said, listen, I would love to have a reading with you. And this is exactly how I said it. I would love to have a reading with you, but I can't. I have no money. I am negative in my bank account. I have $20 in my wallet and I have enough gas to get back to my parents' house because I went through a divorce and I'm broke. And that's exactly how I said it in front of all of these people. There's like 8 people standing around me listening to the conversation. He grabs my arm and he goes, okay, let's go. You're having a reading.
Right.
And he takes me all the way back into the convention center. His table was all the way back in the back. I think I walked a football field to get there. I sit down and I look at him and I said, I have no money to pay you. And he said, I don't care. I don't want your money. I'm going to give you a reading. Within seconds, I was crying. And he said, you're mad at your mother. And you need to do forgiveness on her. And I was like, I am not mad at my mom. And he goes, because, psychics, so logic, I was like, I'm not mad at my mom. I just talked to her. We're getting along great, And he was like, no, you're mad at your mother.
Yeah.
And so an hour later, after this entire reading, I ended up getting put on a 48-day forgiveness journey. I mean, my soul exploded. And I journaled my entire experience, which is what my soul freedom books are about, because that was my awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't turn out good between me and the psychic afterwards, and that ending is in my soul freedom companion. It even involved law enforcement. But
That happened.
yeah. And so, but it was a really profound experience. And I got 3 books that I produced from that, because I was like, again, I couldn't pick the right man
Uh-huh.
that kept financially abusing me and,
Uh-huh.
physically abusing me and everything else. And then I meet this 60-something-year-old psychic guy
Mm-hmm.
that I trusted because he had this authority. And then by the end of it, I was still getting taken advantage of and abused, but I was just getting it done in a different world.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God,
Right.
what's wrong with me?
Nothing.
Right.
You're growing.
I'm growing, but I didn't have anybody to tell me that.
Well, honey, I've been around for centuries or two, but no, psychics go through the most shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we do. Believe me, relationship-wise, you can't understand a cheater unless you've been cheated.
Yep.
You can't understand an abusive husband unless you've dealt with one. You can't understand a husband that has a mental problem unless you're dealing with one. You can't understand an ego husband unless you've dealt with one.
God, that is so true. Nailed it. And that's the thing, is what created our divorce back in the day was he was cheating with the intern on his radio show, and it went live over the air in Atlanta, Georgia, and the program director called him out on it.
Oh, goodness.
And then he came home that night and played it for me and acted as if like it was a lie. And I was so naive that I started talking to attorneys because he wanted to sue the station for defamation of character and slander. And when I was actually making progress in the legal realm, he stopped me. And they fired him. And I was like, what in the world? So anyway, so I continue with this psychic. I got 3 books. Like my Soul Freedom Companion books are my real-time 48-day forgiveness journey. Like I wrote every single night what was happening to me, because so much energy was changing.
Right.
And at the time I was blogging, back in the day when blogs were big. Right. And I literally had people saying, Shelby, you need to take down these posts because you look really crazy and you look like you should be in a psychiatric ward.
Duh. It's called growth.
Right?
Have you seen a rose produce itself? It ain't pretty.
Exactly. And what's funny is that my parents lived out in the country. And so they were just getting a tower in for internet.
Okay.
They were readjusting the internet in the area. So when someone said that, the whole internet went down, so I couldn't post anyway.
Okay.
So it was almost like a protection. And then I just went, okay, I'm not going to post, but I'm still going to keep writing.
Right.
So I got to a place where, and the whole story's in my book, but I have my journals, and then I created my book, The Art of I actually have the books right here.
Awesome. Links are in the description, by the way.
Oh, good. Yeah. So this is my, so this is Soul Freedom. And then Soul Freedom Companion. So these are my real time, like my life just exploded like diarrhea in my world spirit realm. If you like drama, this is better than the Real Housewives. Okay. And
because it's psychic drama. We have not only this realm, but the other realms.
Yes.
Okay. Going on, and the other thoughts and ideas, and all the I've heard that before, and I know exactly what your next words are going to be.
Right. But it's true. It's like and if you don't live in that world where you're aware of that world, then you don't really understand it. Which is why we're having such a big awakening on the planet now, because everyone's starting to experience this.
Yes.
And it's people like us that have to educate, which is going to get us to the end of the broadcast at some point when we tell everybody the exciting news.
Yes. Once they get to know us, because I'm sure we've got viewers from both sides of the spectrum that hasn't seen either one of us.
Right.
And then we've got viewers that have seen us. But no, the psychic awakenings, the psychic problems, the psychic growth in both the industry and the world has been mounting up since probably 2015. Everyone was all prepped and ready. We're going to get off this damn ship in 2012. Well, guys, I don't know. And maybe Haley Bob said, nah, I ain't stopping picking you up. We don't know. Point being is the rapture did not happen, and now we're going through some times.
Preach, brother, preach.
Okay. But on the other side of that, we've got growth. We're so connected today.
Yes.
And this is not, and I'm not just saying, oh, the psychics are so connected. No, I'm talking about this. We are connected in 40 different ways. This morning, we were working on interlinking and connecting and, building up the little, posse of world famous top line psychics, that do not round, people think, oh, well, you must follow all the top psychics. No, we don't. We get into our own little bubble and do our own little thing.
Yep.
Yep.
That's exactly what we do, because somewhere innately we understand the energy.
Yeah.
So can we trust that one? Do we trust that one? Because a psychic really runs that pattern of know-it-all. Right? Because we're connected.
And not only that, but do I want to take that into my world?
Exactly. Like, do I trust your know-it-all of what you filter?
Yeah.
Or am I going to stick with mine and trust what I filter? Right? Because we learn about psychic attacks.
Well, not only that, but I have something called that I look at it as more so my space is valuable.
Yep.
And that includes my social media space.
Yeah.
Because that's got such a high imprint. You're seeing, you're flipping. And even if you're not on it, you still have to see it, flip it, do it, whatever, especially in this business. There's no way of getting away from social media.
Yep.
Today. So you either have to hire someone to do it or you have to do it yourself. So the people I follow and interact with, I'm very I don't want to see that. I don't want to acknowledge that. I don't want to hear how terrible that is. Give me a cup of coffee. Show me, my Patreons. You'll learn about them. I have a little Patreon group that actually supports the network. They share daily coffee memes because it brightens my day up.
Okay.
Yeah. But, it's the positive, I don't want that negativity seeping in and even hitting that subconscious brainwave.
I love the male version of how you're saying this.
Okay.
It makes my whole spirit happy to have the male side explain it, because the female speaks different when we're explaining, and then the male comes in and it's like, yes, that's the logical part. You said it exactly the way I was trying to say it. Yeah, but that's it, because you don't want to take in that vibration. I can't tell you how many times when all the censorship was going on social media, and I was feeling all this negativity on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and and Twitter. I was just like, I can't be a part of this. I don't even want to be in that space. I think I shut down my social media platforms 3 different times. Where I just came off the platforms altogether, deleted my accounts, came off, and people were like, oh my God, Shelby, you've had these people follow you. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't, this is too much. I'm y'all need to come off. We all need to do a reset. And so I, had to even maneuver myself through that process. And then now, because more things have changed on the planet, then there's more of that safety mechanism energetically to get back onto the platforms. But then the people have also changed too.
Well, they have. Now, but at the same time, the reason I stay on them is someone's got to be a damn lighthouse.
Yep.
Okay. And and I may not be interacting, or I may interact very limitedly in that direct communication. I may not even look at it. I have a lovely program, and I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah.
When I'm not on air, I can go in there, load up a month worth of everything I need, and I can walk away.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, and in my process, I've been going through so much personal transformation that that's how I did my reset. Oh, so that brings me to my Art of Process book. So when the psychic said I was mad at my mother and I had to do forgiveness work, well, I did it. And then once I did it, I was like, well, I've got to write about what the process is, because the teacher in me was like, I got to share it. Right? Because that's what you do. Like, especially when you're in the metaphysical world, when you learn something, you want to share it. We're big shares, right? So I'm like, and I had never written a book before. Okay. I'd never done any self-publish. I did not know. I mean, I taught reading in English, but it's not like I'm like, this is my strong suit. But I wrote some pretty damn good books.
You have, and they're on Kindle,
Amazon,
paperback or Kindle. And I'm going to recommend Kindle. I used to recommend paperback for anything, but I'm going to say Kindle-less, guys. And here's why. We save the planet, and you can carry it anywhere you want to.
That's true.
Because I'm sure these are workbooks.
Well, you know what I did? I had a client where she bought one of my books, right? Because I talk about the twin flame energy, right? Well, this was my twin flame love book of the right energy, wrong body.
Right.
So I had a client, I said, you just need to buy this book. I don't care if you read it. I don't care. Once you buy it, you get the energies of it anyway.
Right.
Well, she was going through the process, and at one point she had a private session with me, and I told her, I said, okay, I know where you're at now. I want you to take this book and I want you to burn it. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I said, rip up the pages, shred it. But really, honestly, if you could like put it in a chimenea, burn it. And she's like, why? And I said, because it's the easiest way after you've done all this forgiveness to release the energy of what you're trying, because you're trying to get to the right person yourself, right? And she goes, I feel so bad because I bought your book. And I said, it served its purpose. Just listen to me. And so she did. I said, and she goes, but it's your book. And I said, it's human. It's a human thing. I don't care. Rip it up, shred it up, whatever you got to do, freaking burn it. Well, guess what? She did it. And now all of a sudden her person came in. I'm like, because out here we play with things.
Exactly.
This was something, I'm not attached to what you do to this. I just want you to get the energy from it. So it was really, really funny when she did that. But so then once I cleared all this to get to our launch here, I realized that energy is the new brain. Because once I went through my forgiveness work with the whole psychic and all that, and all that stuff happened, then I moved into this space of like really understanding energy, which took me beyond psychic, right? And so that's why I wrote this book. And this was actually an interview that I did when I was a part of a teaching summit. And that interview of me explaining energy is in this book in interview format. So it's really easy to read. But my point to all of that in my journey that's led me to this moment in time is I met my mentor who has been training NLP, people in NLP, which is the neuro-linguistics programming, which is really the left side of the brain. And she's a big kahuna in Hawaii. So she teaches the Hawaiian system of Huna. Well, in October of 2011, when all of this stuff happened and I was like done and published, then I had an activation in my lucid dream where my Kundalini energy flipped all at once.
Oh, fun.
Right? I didn't know that's what happened.
Let's take a break and we'll pick up right there.
Perfect.
All right.
Hi, I'm Dottie the Psychic, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup. Well, one reason is to irritate my social media manager, Aeson Knight. Hi, Aeson. The other reason is because I like to get to the naked truth about what it means to be a neurodivergent LGBT person with psychic abilities. I've got vlogs, blogs, and podcasts and videos all related to trying to live my best life and helping witches and bitches do the same thing. So, you can check all that out and get a reading from Dottie the Psychic at DOTTIE, thepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.
Do you have a cute pet? We know you do. Each week, Tracy Vann chooses from submitted photos a featured reader for her Facebook page and provides a tarot reading. Your adorable pet cat, dog, rabbit, goat, chicken, snake, or more could be her next featured reader. Visit tracyvann.com, TracyVann.com, and click Featured Reader to submit. We look forward to seeing your pet next.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and I am here to tell you how to get in contact with me and a little bit about what I do. I am the High Priestess that works with shadow work to help you grow and heal. And I work with access bars, Reiki, I do power forms. I'm recently getting into crystal healing, sound therapy as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, that is LadyGwendolynHealing.com. Book your appointment with me. I do in person, I do over the phone, I do over Zoom. We can do that as well. My main goal is to help you grow and heal, because I've been there, I'm still going through it, and I let my strength help guide you. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you would come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
All right, welcome back. Okay.
I have to say that I laughed at Dottie's commercial.
Oh yeah, she loves the. Yeah, I can't wait for her next one because I fuss and yeah, me and her have a good banter. You'll have to tune in Thursday nights with us.
Okay, I'm like, I gotta know her, because that was like, I'm like, that is the way she was leaning with the camera all the way down, and you could see, I'm like, that is a direct picture of what it's like to be in the psychic world.
It is.
Like, she nailed it. And she may not even know that she did that. And, but I'm like, that is the tunnel.
That is the tunnel. So your Kundalini activates. You've got these books. You're running the courses. You're doing the things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
I meet my psychic. I meet my mentor. And you want to know how I got to my mentor? Quick story. So on this path of relationships, this is why I say that I am the world's #1 relationship expert. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's to myself of what I've done. But so how did I get to my mentor? Well, when you have a pattern and you keep repeating the pattern, you hopefully are just elevating to the next level in your pattern better. Mm-hmm. So I embrace the fact that all my spiritual communication channels opened. I embraced the fact that my psychic ability went through the roof. I was already psychic, but I wasn't really aware of what I was. Right. And I had the mediumship come in. I had the hands-on healing. I lost control of my body for 3 hours. I got all the downloads of all the disabilities and all kind, I did all that. Right. Right. Well, I moved through that and I get through all of this stuff. And then I go to a wellness expo. Here we are again. Mm-hmm. At Dick's Sporting Goods in the parking lot, no less. I had a tent set up. The woman across from me selling snow cones comes over to me and she says, "Can you do a reading with my son when he gets here? Because I feel like he's about to go to jail. for carrying a firearm and marijuana, and I just really feel like he needs some direction. I'll pay you, and just don't tell him that I want it to be natural, right?
Right.
So he sits down, he comes in, sits down, I read for him, whatever. Well, I felt like I needed to gift him my books because I knew, like, oh God, he's about to go through, like, I saw him go, he was going to get, go to jail.
Right.
And long story short, a couple months later, his mom reaches out to me and says, he wasn't allowed to take your books in. He's got to get it directly from the publisher. Can you send them to him? He wants to read them. So I said, sure. So I sent him the books. Well, then he starts, here we go, jail romance. He starts sending me letters, right, in the mail. Well, then I'm already activated. So my whole heart chakra is like, oh my God, he's such a good heart. He's such a good person. Da, 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 da. I love his family. I love his mom. I love this and that. So I'm literally like for 8-9 months having this like experience with him while he's locked up. Right. And he's like, nothing was labeled. It was just me like feeling this, right? Not on his side, but my side.
Right.
Well, he wanted me to come in for a spiritual visit. And I had to talk to the priest at the jail. And so I called him up. I talked to this Father Casey person for an hour. I never said the word psychic. I never said I never said anything like that. And he just said, Shelby, I know exactly who you are. And I want you to promise me that when we hang up, you Google this woman's name that's in Dallas and you take every course she has. And he installed that in me 3 times before we hung up the phone. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. I hung up the phone. I Googled her. I found her. I called her. She called me back within minutes. I was on the phone with her for almost an hour and a half. I was bawling because I felt like someone knew what had happened to me and could explain it. And it was like receiving it back. So Shelby, don't even worry about money right now. We'll work it out. You just come have a session with me. I go to her house. I have a session and she's little. She's like 4'8". I call her Yoda. And she looks at me and she goes, how would you like me to teach you everything I know? And I was like, oh my God, I love that. And she goes, okay, let's begin. And like that's when I really like everything got tested.
Right.
But what I realized when my Kundalini flipped, my right brain, that psychic part of myself really expanded.
Right.
So I was out here not being able to ground or land or make anything happen because I was just she called me an airhead. I was just, So when I went through NLP, I got the left brain in to balance my brain. Well, as that was going on, then my husband has known her since he was 16. And he was in the classes with me, but he had a girlfriend. And well, during one of the practitioner weekends, the girlfriend didn't make it and his and mine energies took off. So that's what created that twin energy match label.
Right.
And we started this really deep soul work together that my mentor actually guided. So it blew jail guy out of the way. It blew the girlfriend out of the way. And then we went into that deeper healing and went through another set of fire,
Right.
And I'm like, does this shit ever end?
No.
Like it was so much in the soul and continues to be, but we've gotten so much like balance because it was really about coming back to ourselves.
Right.
And so I've been through this process, and then that's where eventually, like I was on another platform called Arranum that we mentioned right before we got on air, but I found Keen and I was like, okay, so I've had all of this. Then I did a spiritual business boot camp. I grew a tribe. I created courses. I ran all my tribe through the courses. They've been tested, processed, proven. Took my tribe on a Huna trip through a cruise setting, really did the Hawaiian way and theme and learned all of those higher frequencies, whatnot. And then now here I am today, where all of these parts of my puzzle, because remember, when you expand, you have all these pieces of you out here.
Right.
So I've been grabbing all these parts of myself, transforming it through my spiritual business, and then putting my parts back together.
Right.
That has created my company name is the Queen of Total Wellness, that I actually did back in 2006.
Cool.
Okay. When I was doing all the network marketing, but I've kept my business name.
Right.
I just didn't know that the Queen of Total Wellness was going to be my own queen, my own metaphysical self.
Right.
And because I'm a teacher and I began a tribe back in 2018, they all wanted to know my process. How did you make it? How did you go through this transformation? And I thought to myself, oh my God, I don't know. And I'm like, let me get back to you on that. And so and that's where my courses started. I really had to go.
You have to go and deconstruct it.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
So my spiritual school curriculum is all of that.
Cool.
And that is what brings us to our defining moment that I'm going to let you talk about.
Well, I'm going to talk about me, and then we'll talk about that. So I grew up psychic. Age 3, I was a caller ID before they had it. You know, such and such is coming over, Grandma. They want money. I ain't got it. You know, that type of stuff. And she worked, and I'm sure you remember the Inquirer, and they would have little ads in the back that said, send this, this, and this to this address.
Yep.
And your psychic will send you a reading.
Yep. Oh my God.
Okay, that's what she done. She processed them. The envelopes would come. The envelope would arrive on Monday, and she had to have all her readings out by Friday. And she got paid 3 cents a word over 5 letters.
No way.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what she done quietly. No one knew what she was doing. No one shared it. You know, all they knew is she wrote an advice column. She wrote advice columns.
That's crazy.
Okay, so she's got this little grandkid in the backwoods of West Virginia spouting stuff off, and she's like, we don't say that. We don't say that. Oh, you're just making that up. She got me studying, and she used the tarot, so she taught me the old way of doing the tarot, drawing each card out with crayons, and, you know, so then that. And I grew up, and, you know, it was always this, we don't talk about that. I was going to go be a nurse. Okay, I'll go be a nurse and, you know, work a little bit on the side, do readings on the side, because you can't make money like that anymore. I mean, we've got, you know, this is in the 80s and 90s when computers and all that was going on. And it's like, okay, I can do a little on the side here, a little on the side there, but I got to have a real career. So I got into this work situation where I was pulling 120 hours in a week on a nursing geriatric floor. Y'all want to talk staff shortages? We were staff shortages and a half.
Holy moly.
And Spirit said, you're about done with this. You can either stop it or we're going to stop it. You got something else to go do. And I was like, there's no way I can do anything else. I've got student loans. I've got house payments. I've got car payments. I've got a husband. I've got everything else to take care of. And they're like, My guy goes, so you're going to be Mr. Stubborn. Okay. Well, I warned you. I was like, go away. I'm not reading right now anyhow. Because at this time it was like, you only come in when I need you.
Yep.
And I was working one night and we were moving a patient to a shower bed and the other person let go. Crushed 7 discs in my back. Within 8 hours, my complete life was gone.
Stop it.
No.
Okay, let's back that up a second. So you're telling me that you went to move a patient and your back gave out.
Yeah.
And shattered 7 discs.
7 discs. I have 7 herniated discs and a blown kneecap out of it.
So that's literally how you did your opening. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me run that through because that just gave me like, woo.
Yeah, that's how my opening came about. And it was like, okay, fine. I'm on my back for 6 months.
I just felt that come off my shoulders. I think you just had a clearing because that just came Look, you even sat up taller.
Yeah, probably. I also
Wow.
lost 2 inches.
God, yeah, I
in
can
height,
imagine.
you know. But
That's how you did your shrinking.
that's how I did my shrinking.
God.
So, the doctor's like, you can't move, you can't lift, you need to stay as you cannot pick up more than a coffee cup until your back heals enough for you to stabilize. And here's these Lortabs,
Oh God.
and your career is over.
Oh.
So I get out of the ER. I call him. It's going to be a while before I can come back in. Well, we're going to terminate you. You violated patient safety by moving that patient without a
Oh my
lift.
God.
The patient was bigger than the lift's maximum. So no retirement, no workman's comp, bills out the wazoo. Because believe me, you ain't working 120 hours unless you've got to pay the bills.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Spirit said, hard head. Are you ready? So I started working the little networks. I'll name them. Psychic Power Network. Went over there, worked for a little while, paid little bills, laying on the couch, dealing the cards out on the coffee table.
Which is less weight than picking up a coffee cup.
Exactly. Less weight than a coffee cup.
You're following doctor's orders.
Honey, I was following a lot of doctor's orders at that time. And then the advent of the internet came along. I started popping into Yahoo chat, and I don't know if this psychic's even still with Keen, but there was a psychic in there called a Moon's Maiden, and she just like this, ran a chat room, and I was working, and she was working, and all the other people were talking. We do questions in and out, all that fun stuff. She says, you need to come over to Keen. I'm like, really? Do I need to go to another network? I've been closed down by 2, had federal agents show up at my door for 1. I need... Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Back up. I got to hear that part.
Oh, the federal agents part?
Yeah.
Okay. So, working with me, how ingenious and how pressure pointed I am at things. You've seen that in Messenger. Yeah, I've always been that way. So I got to a point in a company that back in 1992 got shut down by federal agents.
Why?
Well, honey, they had this lovely commercial that would come on TV that the person never read a deck of cards in her life.
So it was the fraud. Stop.
Yeah, they collected everyone's equipment.
They took yours?
Yeah. Everybody, like when that came down, they collected everything from the company.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that's when I became real familiar with all the federal FCC laws.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, have you written a book? Because I think that
I haven't yet. I'm writing 2 actually, and I'm stuck at time for the moment. I got to figure out how to jump through time.
Okay, just make sure you put that part in the book because I want to learn more about that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I ain't got the book out yet, but and then I'm working metaphysical classes. I joined Keen 17 years ago yesterday. Hello, universe.
Stop. Talk about your loop.
Yeah, 17 years ago.
Adds to an 8, Aeson. That's navigation.
Exactly. And today we're launching modernspiritualists.com. Oh, but I taught classes. I've done Zoom classes. When the pandemic hit, I switched from teaching in person to Zoom. Now the evolution has come on. And I want to apologize to my patrons because I had to use you guys for some test dummies.
That's the way it is in the world of metaphysics.
Exactly. You get to test stuff out. So, but let's bring up the site and let's talk to them about what it is.
All right. I'll follow your lead.
All right. Screen. Here we go, guys.
Woo!
It is live.
And that came up quick.
Yeah, it came up quick. They've been busting our butt. We want to thank our Ingenio parent company.
Yes.
Yes. They have been kick-ass. Our support team has been amazing. They have dealt with us, especially during a Mars retrograde when psychics are ready to just beat people up.
Not only the Mars retrograde, but then we had the portal.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Like what we had the eclipse on the 8th.
Uh-huh.
The full blood red moon, whatever that thing was. And then we had the 11/11 portal. Oh my God. This is the time when stuff like this happens to sensitives like ourselves. I mean, we're like, ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot.
All right. So I'm going to take you through and you can talk us through this. So what is Modern Spirituals? Is it another psychic network? No, it isn't. It's a collective between the brands.
Look, there I am.
Yeah, there you are.
There's Miguel. There's Hope.
Uh-huh. You can talk directly to your instructor for a one-on-one session. But even cooler, you can go and take the classes. The classes you guys see us talk about, maybe you've wanted to get into. You can go and preview the course. You can look at it like the spiritual ethics course. It's 15 lectures. It's 4 hours long. It's an advanced course, so maybe you're not ready for the advanced course. And you've got coursework to do, and you literally talk and build with your instructor. You can email us for free. You've got assignments. What are ethics bending? Are you ready? The foundational laws. I mean, you can pre-see everything. It is video courses. Get FAQs. You got a question, you go in here. If you don't get it, guess what? You just go back over and message Shelby, and she is right there on it. So let's go back to your main page here. Yay, we're being called teachers. That was a big discussion. Instructors, teachers, facilitators. Let's talk about your spiritual ethics course. What's it about?
Well, the spiritual ethics course came about because I've learned in the spiritual world that there's rules, there's laws. When we walk in that hakala of ourselves, that prayer walk, let me just put to the audience this way, is we're all spiritual, we're all connected somewhere, right?
Right.
And our spiritual communication channels of what we label psychic or mediumship or intuitive, empathic, whatever these labels are out here, it's really just us advancing to a higher level of connection in our own consciousness, right? And we feel energy differently.
Right.
Well, the more advanced we grow our energy body, then we bring in more, right? We bring in things to us. Well, until we really understand what we're bringing and what filter is being filtered through our personal world determines how that spiritual energy affects us, right?
Right.
So when I've noticed with my clients and with myself, when I was getting more sensitive and my clients were getting more sensitive, then things were happening, and it was a pattern that really had to do with spiritual law.
Right.
So I put a course together on spiritual ethics because the more you raise your vibration and consciousness, the more power you actually have, because you're more connected. And determining upon what those ethics are determines how you use that. And so my spiritual ethics course goes through the process of, these are what the ethics are when you wake up. These are the laws in spirit. And you want to make sure you follow that, because other people out here are getting the ethics. And if your ethics are underneath what somebody else's ethics are, you get a bigger kickback on that. And so, and people don't understand that when they get these abilities, that they're actually opening themselves up to create the chaos in their world, because it's untethered energy. So once they understand the ethics, it's a lot easier to move through.
Very much so. All right. And what about mediumship?
Mediumship is a funny course. It's a serious course, but the mediumship is me actually displaying what happened when I got lit up.
Ah,
Yep. So
yeah.
it's not a course for people to learn how to channel dead people. It's like, this is what mediumship energy is. This is what it looks like. Here's what you can do to help maneuver through that. And here's what it looked like when I did it.
Awesome.
So this is a course where I tell people, if you like to be judgmental, this is the course for you.
Right.
This is where you can judge me all over the place, and it is perfectly okay.
Right. Okay. And then twin flame energy.
That is my personal story of my twin flame awakening with my husband.
Awesome.
Which is fire, because if I would have had this course when I met him, it would have made so much sense. So this is real time movement.
Right.
That course will change lives.
It will. And it's 12 hours and 13 minutes long, 21 lectures, and it's an advanced level course.
My twin flame course
in here. There needs to be a test in here somewhere.
Yeah, I know, right? My twin flame course is reality TV. That's the way I view that course.
All right. Movement course.
That is all about the forgiveness journey, how to build your foundation of energy from the ground up. That's a very serious course in the sense of, if you don't like to move, if you don't want to change, don't take the class, because this class is going to move you.
Yes.
And you can tell even in my energy how much I just was like,
Now, this one's a highly important one, I think. It's the psychic energy course.
Yep. That is basically me going through the information of the psychic piece, debunking the myth. This is an important course for people because people have so many different ideas of what psychic is. And this is a foundation to shifting that.
Right. All right. And then we have the Energy Academy study course. Alchemy.
So this is taking the empath to the alchemist and explaining how it works and getting those installs in there.
Okay. And it is a 3-hour and 30-minute course at your own pace. You don't have to stop and back it up. You can just do one thing at a time. And you don't limit your time on your courses, do you?
No.
Okay. I don't either. I know that that's an option we have.
I used to, but people go back and watch my courses like over and over and over again because they're energetic installs.
Right. All right. Relationship reset. What your mother never taught you until now.
That's self-explanatory through my personal story.
Exactly. This has been your life that, you've cruised through. And it's great, I think, for rebuilding relationships because they get stale, they get tired, they get changed, people change.
Yeah, the relationship reset is literally how to have a relationship now in these higher frequencies that is not the traditional method, because we're having to move to the spiritual energy of the relationship that people don't understand. So this helps build a foundation to that.
And then your featured king course is the 5th dimension.
Yes. And that is baseline foundation of, if you're on a spiritual growth path, if you don't understand what dimension of time we're in and why these energies are doing what they're doing, then it's really hard to make sense of what's going on in your world. So this is like an introduction to explaining what that is, what symptoms people may have, so on and so forth.
Right. And, your courses are up there. They're easy to get to. They're great to do that. Okay, let me flip over. We'll talk about the ones all my courses.
You forgot one.
Oh, I did? I'm sorry.
This energy in. It's the celebrity consciousness.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So the celebrity consciousness course is really important. I actually talk about my encounter with actual celebrities of energy inside of that. But that is a huge course for people to build and rebuild their own view of what that celebrity status actually is. That's a powerful course.
It is. I'm sorry, I overlooked it. I didn't see it, darling.
See, you need to take it because you're a celebrity.
I know. I gotta get there. All right. Well, I'm going to take a shortcut. Let me take this down a moment. And stop the sharing. There we go. We'll go back. Okay, I'm going to get my courses, but why don't you talk about how easy it is to get in there?
Into the courses?
Uh-huh.
Well, first of all, like you said, I'm, Ingenio, thank you to them and Modern Spiritual and Keen for allowing this to happen. So go to modernspiritual.com and just cruise the site. And of course, I'm Shelby Carino. You can say, you have yours, and you can just, click in to, you can search instructors, you can search courses. You can get all the previews like you just showed.
Right.
You just click on that, pay it. It goes into a library for you, and then boom, you have access to it.
Right. And some of them are timed. Most of them aren't. Some of them, I don't think any of us went with the time option.
Yeah.
All right. So let's look and see what Aeson's offering right now.
Yes.
No, there will be additional courses growing here, guys. This is not the one shot. This is all I'm putting out, so don't be freaking. All right, so we have my beginner astrology course. We get a birth chart in that also. Then we have beginning numerology. Then we have the journey of the fools level 1 up. And we have candle magic for beginners. These are the 4 courses I'm currently offering. Since this is launch week, I am going to do something a little bit differently. Because, I like to do things a little differently. My courses are $9.99 for the next 7 days. I have never sold my courses that cheap.
Got to jump on that.
Got to jump on it quick. With the beginning astrology course, you will be able to understand what is your birth chart, how's it go, what did you walk into this world with. Numerology.
That's a good foundational piece right there. Because if people know their foundation, their blueprint, in that dynamic, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Know what you're doing.
Yep. Then beginning numerology moves you into seeing the signs and symbols that are already around you, pre-programmed into you, what your phases are. You can break down the numbers themselves.
Which we already did, Aeson, and when I said and 1 + 7 is an 8.
Yes, very much so. And of course,
I'm so glad you have this course, because this is literally about learning that, like you said, like to pay attention. It's a part of that awareness process when you wake up.
Exactly. And then we have, let me bounce over here, bouncing out. Then you begin the journey of the fools. This is my tarot course. It teaches you how to read tarot. I don't play games. My tarot, some of my viewers have watched my tarot classes. This is 10 lesson class. With this, you download the workbook. You go through all 78 cards in the upright position. You see the cycle of the fool in your life. It is a soul working class, but it also enables you to take the power of the tarot into your own hands and do readings if you would choose to. And then back, candle magic, aka a way to harness the flame to work in your manifestation.
Set it on fire. Set it
on fire. Yep. And make it the way you want it. Again, the courses are up. Let me go ahead and get the links out. And
while you're doing that, I just want to end by saying that this is such a win for the spiritual community, and especially for the advisor communities that work on these psychic platforms, because what we were talking about before we went live is the face of what the word psychic, medium, all of that is changing.
Right.
And because we're all stepping into these abilities that we are innate in us anyway. And so to get the education through what these courses are, your courses, my courses, other teachers' courses on the site, is a game changer for these communities. And it is, and as an advisor, I bet you can agree, this is exactly what our clients have been asking for. This is exactly what they're wanting, because they're learning in this day and time that a question and answer session is not getting them where they need to go. They're
Right.
having it's a band-aid to a feeling, but it's not engaging them into their spiritual depth that
Right.
they keep circling back into. So for them to be releasing this to allow our community to give more out to help people in those processes changes how we get to work with our clients, which is huge.
Right.
So this is like, if you're watching this broadcast, I'm telling you, in this level of community, this is massive, because that means if you look at psychic sites and metaphysical, in the metaphysical world, we're visionaries,
Right.
right? And the fact that this is happening now in 2022, that this great big company has allowed this to happen, it is a game changer, showing how the psychic community is shifting, how we're shifting spiritually. And this is I have chill bumps. This is a ground level foundational piece that is going to change how people wake up. And I'm so grateful to be on the front end of this.
But how they learn, how they get themselves moving.
Yes.
Because before today at 1 o'clock, if they wanted to learn Journey of the Fools, or they wanted to learn celebrity energy, or they wanted to do your relationship reset, they had to they had to hop on a plane, then get in a car and drive up to the backwoods of West Virginia, wherever I was teaching the course at.
Right.
For you, they had to fly into Texas, Dallas, find where, hopefully they get the hotel and everything right to take your relationship boot camp. All this together. Now, guys, you can take the course at 2 a.m. You can take the course at 4 p.m. You can work on one lesson at a time. If you get stuck on something, you can either pick up the phone and call us, and yes, it is per minute on that, or you can email or message your teacher and get responses back within 24 or 48 hours.
Yeah, the fact that we are in that space and time and technology where you can like literally just reach somebody in that moment. Like my students that have gone through my courses, that you know, I mean, that I was talking about earlier, they listen to my classes at night. They fall asleep. They let it drop into their subconscious. I talk about that a lot. You know, some of them you don't have to pay attention. I'm just like, just let the energy run, you know, vacuum the floor, just hit play, whatever. And the fact that that's the metaphysics part, that's the energy part. And so, and with tarot, I have to go back to your class on the tarot. Thank you for putting that together, because if there's one thing that I'm really good at, is I'm really good at the validity of reading the truth and the energy, right?
Right.
Okay. So when you spoke about your history with the grandmother and everything like that, and how she did tarot and the National Enquirer and all that, I was like, dude, that's your X factor. Like, you're solid. And so I can say that tarot class, that would be something even for me, I would love to go back and look at, because when I woke up and I started doing oracle cards and the tarot, because it's a way to channel the energies and get those messages, we weren't taught that stuff in school.
No.
And this is ancient knowledge. This is wisdom from the ancestors, right? That has been passed on. So we have to go back and learn the magic. And we don't have to hide the magic anymore. It's sitting in front of our face. And we just have, and that's what Miguel's class, like he's on Miguel Cortez. He's all about the ancestors. And he's put out all the ancestor courses. So I'm so super excited that we're being able to do this together. And thank you so much for putting together this live stream, because
not a problem. Because, you know, this is the future.
This is the future.
You know.
Yeah, this is happening. And people, and I keep telling people, ride above the wave.
Right.
Because the wave is here. The wave is fifth dimension. The wave of energy is here. People are already getting knocked. And they're waking up, but they're not real sure. Most of the general population isn't really sure what's happening yet, but they're about to really start paying attention. And that's why, as visionaries in the metaphysical world, for this company to put this together and allow this to happen out here says something. It's not like, oh, we're just sitting here on a live stream.
Ingenio is the largest global network of psychic networks, and they've pulled the best instructors from all over. Sue Ellen, which is I believe she's in Germany right now, or no, she lives in Austria. She just got back from Germany. She's up there teaching and sharing too. Miguel is up there. They brought him in with honoring the ancestors. We have Psychic Star, spiritual growth expert. I've seen her around. We have life coaching coming in. We have Angel Hope 2004, specializing in angel coaching. So they chose the best of the best, the cream of the crop, and said, let's get these masterminds working together on something big.
And what I love about Hope, and this is when you're working with really gifted psychic metaphysical people, is that the information and content is streamlined, not even knowing that that's what we were actually putting together. Because even Hope's courses are about getting people, like, just even putting their toe in the water to shifting that personal growth and development within their energy, right? So even her courses, like, are so great for people that are stepping into the world of self-awareness and, but on the spiritual side of it, waking that up. So everything that's on modernspiritual.com with the instructors, it's not like it's a repeat, like, because each teacher in the metaphysical world has a niche.
Yeah. Not only that, but what makes us different, because, there's other places you can take courses. We're not going to deny that.
Right.
If they're up, if you can get the instructor there, if whatever, I'm still going live classes. You're still doing live classes. What makes us different is you got a question. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing here, or I don't know what I'm feeling here. You can hit that button. Oh, he's on call. She's on call. Connect right with us. Now tell us up front, I'm one of your students.
Yes.
I have a question, because we don't want to go in and do a full reading on you. If you just want to know why the Three of Swords just makes you want to hurl every time you look at it.
I'm telling you, we're in a day and age of instant gratification or instant communication.
Yeah.
To be able to do, and being a former school teacher of 11 years in the public school system, and my organic innate, gift is teaching. Well, it's like to be able to take a course, a spiritual course at that. And then, like you said, if they get stuck, if they need clarity, if they need a deeper insight, it's like, oh, boom, click a button. I can get with Aeson. I can get with Shelby. I can get with Miguel. I can get with Hope. I can get with Psychic Star. I can, we're literally like at your fingertips.
Right.
And that is unheard of.
Right.
To be able to have the class and the teacher, boom, right there when you need them.
Yeah. And without having to travel, hotel. We don't have to smuck around. I can retire my airline bag and, go. Now I'm not visiting Delta this year. Or, do a retreat and, you get at the rental car and they rent you the rental car and it's supposed to be able to handle it. And you hit that road. I don't know. You may have in Texas. It's supposed to be all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes about 80 days to get through Texas anyway.
Exactly. In West Virginia, you don't get through it. You just don't. You end up in a mine shaft somewhere.
I've never been to West Virginia.
Well, honey, think northern Texas weather.
Okay.
With roads from Alabama.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I just got that visual. I used to live in Alabama for a minute. I was in Gulf Shores, Alabama, but I was on the beach. But I get that piece. Yeah.
Yeah. Curves and all there. And I know Aeson, I'm working. Yeah. Shannon has a real problem with the Ten of Swords and working on that self-esteem and getting that vibration of, I keep going. Why do y'all keep adding more things to me?
Well, I'm grateful for you putting together this broadcast today, for us being able to support Modern Spiritual and the launch of the site, and being able to bring in the the knowledge, the information, the education that this exists.
Uh-huh.
And this is the next level of spiritual awareness, spiritual growth, spiritual accountability is what I like to call it. This is no longer, we're no longer in the space of, oh, I think I just want to go play in the metaphysical world and learn how to do this because, oh, it's just fun to be up here and flighty and escape. It's like, no, these things are actual tools that you're going to need, you know, to survive life in the new world. Okay.
And get past these patterns of you repeating and repeating and repeating and, you know, dating the same model. And let's spill some tea here for a moment. We both have these clients. We love these clients, okay? We love you guys to death. But you date Joe, and Joe is XXXXXY.
Oh, by the way, my husband's name is Joe.
So is mine. Then you go and you date, you know, John, and he's got the same damn problems. It's like watching you guys study second grade English 30 times in a year.
And that's what I did.
Stop this.
That's what I did. And that's why my courses are so powerful too.
Exactly.
Because I tell on myself.
Yeah, well, we both do. I mean, that's why I like, you know, and you'll find psychics make the mistake and then we tell you we made the mistake. Like, we're the worst tattletales on it.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And then not only do we tell you that we did it, then we turn around and go, hey, listen, let me tell you, I know you're going to do that again, but let me tell you how to do this. So next time when you do it, it's not as bad.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
And then, you know, this is when you want to look for next time. Or this is what you got a problem with now. This is how you iron this out, the problem. Like, you don't need to be going through his bag if you don't want him going through your underwear drawer. Exactly. You ain't got that level of comfort. Stay the hell out of his phone.
Uh-huh.
Let's work on
this. But you know what people have to do? One word. Are you ready for it?
Uh-huh.
I tell my clients this. You have to listen.
Uh-huh.
I tell people, I'm like, listen, I'm telling you what I see. I'm telling you what your pattern is. I mean, you're coming to me for the perspective. You're coming to me for expansion of insight. And this is what I'm telling you. Now, your unconscious part's going to do whatever it's going to do. But I'm going to help you try to get it lined up a little better. But somewhere you still got to listen.
Exactly.
So it does. It goes back to that self-accountability.
Exactly.
And the courses help with that because now the information's getting taught.
Right.
And instead of what we learned back in the day with religion, where that was hidden because we only had a select upper echelon of people that could hold that magic. Yeah. But that's really not how it's ever been. No. But it's what we've been indoctrinated with.
Right.
So now we're like, oh, wait a minute. I have that? I have that? Yeah, because it's a part of who we are.
Yeah. It's like the tarot. Anybody can read the tarot.
Yep.
I have a class that's not going to be a course because there's no way to give it enough structure and I wouldn't price it to begin with. It's called Shotgun Tarot. I teach people how to read tarot in 20 minutes or less.
I love that.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. If you're watching my YouTube, go check out my other videos. It's there, me teaching it at Pagan Pride. And it's quick, fast, because that's how fast the psychic information travels.
Yep.
Yep.
Like a shotgun. I mean, literally.
Like a shotgun. Exactly. And you got to learn to trust yourself. You got to learn to trust your intuition. And that's what your classes do is you ante them up and you get them moving into what they want to do on their course of life.
Yep.
Mine are a little bit more practical. My classes are dealing with the older sciences that were taught at one time, you know, before the age of awakening that just like drained all the life out of us.
You put in the history.
Yeah.
You have the history. You're like a history teacher.
Yes.
Like, let me tell you how it's always been.
Exactly. And you're like, well, this is how it is. This is what works now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the classes we're developing.
Okay.
I'm developing Aeson's Way of Psychic Business.
Woo!
Okay.
I just felt that. Look.
You know, how to run a spiritual business, how to be in tune with the spiritual business, and how to look at a company and go, sorry, I'm worth more. Sorry. You know, I know you need a reading, but it's 3:00 in the morning and my husband gets up in 2 hours. And if I don't get his lunch packed, he's not going to have a good day. So let's talk at 9 in the morning.
that's going to be a powerful, yeah, because I did a course like that because I didn't know how to do that.
Right.
And thank you for putting that together.
Right.
It's needed.
We talked about another platform that you visited, and I looked at it and said, sorry, my wrists are pretty, but I don't need new bracelets. So, how to look at those networks and go, not for me. Not the style of readings I do. Every customer ain't your customer. So,
Yep.
and then I'm going to take on this. I'm going to teach you social media, which I'm sorry, when I started this industry, you needed one thing. You needed a hardline phone. Well, you need two. You needed a hardline phone with no options, no voicemail, no answering machine, no call waiting, and you needed a deck of tarot cards. Now you need multiple computers. You need social media. You need your content provider. You're everything, or you need to hire it out.
Yep. That's like if I was a meme right now, it would be that lady with the brown curly hair and her fingers like this, and it's like if I was a GIF, it would be fact.
Yeah.
What you just said. Fact.
Yeah. So I'm going to be teaching, I'm developing and taping those classes, and those should be up in a couple months. My other classes that I've done, the level 2 Journey of the Fools, will be up. I'm going to do some manifestation work. I'm going to also do what I call folk magic classes.
Did you say folk magic?
Yep. Folk magic.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. The fancy words for, keeping your house clean to keep your negativity. And if you want your husband to be nice to you, then you make sure to add a little sugar to his coffee in the morning so you don't have to deal with him.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So what are you developing over there in the side bricks?
Well, apparently what I'm developing is in the chat over here. It was like on my private chat. And then I clicked on comments. I'm like, oh my God, there's comments over here. And I was looking at Shannon. Hi, Shannon. And whatever. And I'm laughing that she's like, he makes your butt take breaks too.
Yes.
But then I'm laughing at Dottie. She's so funny. West Virginia is as big as Texas if you roll it flat.
Yeah.
Dottie, like if you're still like hanging in there on this feed, I'm like, girl, you need to be a comedian. I would go watch a stand-up show for you. And especially since she's like all psychic and stuff, like, she flies out there. So whatever she brings in, I mean, it's freaking hilarious already. I can already tell you about that, about her. But what I'm working on, what's going to be my, because my classes are under the umbrella of the spiritual school curriculum.
Right.
So there's 9 classes under that curriculum, and they're all, you can take them at different, wherever your energy is, you can take it. But it's also designed if you have no idea what's going on to actually do a stair step, right? So that way you go through an actual process, because remember, I'm all about process.
Yes.
Because I'm a teacher. So for me, it's like, okay, let's get you developed into the relationship of what relationship energy is. So I take you through the relationship. Then I get you into 5th dimension so you understand what the energies are. Then I move you to mediumship because you've got to understand, like, you're a conduit. And then I take you to the psychic because you're going to do all your psychic energy. Then I move you to the alchemy part, then I move people to the celebrity, and, I build them up to get to the end. So that's the curriculum. And honestly, that can take people 1.5 years to 2 years to fully integrate.
Right.
It took me 3. Well, it really took me 11. Okay. Yeah. But, because I have a lot of the way my energy is integrated. But so that's a really big piece for now. But how my curriculum became a curriculum, which is what my next course is going to be, is it all started from a live YouTube stream that I was doing with my tribe. And I was talking about how I had gotten a Brazilian wax. And I was talking about how my first Brazilian wax changed my life of the vagina and everything of a female. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have a program called Heal Your Vagina. And literally that was like the very first course I ever did was called Heal Your Vagina. And I ran through like I think I had 8 to 10 tribe members go through that. It was crazy. The successes that they had Well, then I launched my curriculum after that. Well, people have said, you've got to put that program into a class. Like, you didn't put it into a class, right?
Right.
And so my next curriculum will be, it's going to be called Heal Your Lady Parts. So that's going to be for those, I mean, really women, but I mean, men can heal their lady parts too. But yeah, that's where I'm going to put in all of that. So the next course I'll be building is Heal Your Lady Parts.
Right.
But
so that'll be fun. And do we have a book coming out?
Well, if you look on the back here, this is my
I know that storyboard.
Yeah, and I think in this corner right here, it was talking about, there we go, launching my book in November of 2022. Yeah, I have no book.
Yeah, you do. It's called modernspiritualist.com.
Exactly. So somewhere I picked up, there's a launch. It just wasn't my book. I launched these books in November, apparently. But my mentor has said to me, I have one other big book left in me. And but I'm not at a place to put it together yet. So like I'm in that getting this out there. Because this is kind of like, finally, it's like, that's why today is so important, because I'm like, I even told my husband, I'm like, oh my God, finally, like, it's getting out in a different way. Because it's one thing for me to have it and have my website and run it and market myself. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to be singular and have that impact, but it's another thing to be a part of something that is way more expansive because you're working in the group.
Right.
And that's what I've always wanted. Yes.
By the way, this is mine. I use instead of a vision board, I use a what is it called? Compound board.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. I took a sliding glass door that was an eyesore and made it useful.
That's genius.
I
love that.
Yeah. And that's something I'll teach in class. Yeah.
And is that all? And that's all your little sticky notes? I like that.
Every little task goes onto a sticky note, and then they move down within their planes, and then when they're done, they hit the bricks. Because that's what that is, brick down there.
That's real brick?
No, that's the contact paper.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that creativity.
Yeah.
That's literally like your storyboard.
Yeah. Very much so.
That's genius. You're very smart.
Well, thank you. But no, that's going to be something that I'm going to do, because there's also things like things I don't see out there that is not directly psychic related, but is, that I'm like, now I have a place to teach this.
Yep.
Like, being the spiritual entrepreneur and being the mom with 4 kids trying to also answer the phone with an appointment, and a client trying to text you to rearrange an appointment, and how do you balance this all? Yep. And that type of thing. So yeah, those courses will be coming for over to Modern Spiritual. But how do they get a hold of you? What's your extension? What's your hours over on Keen? Because we are doing this in Tagnum.
Yes. Well, it's funny. Like, I work Keen all the time. Like, I'm always available. So you can go, you'll find me on modernspiritual.com, and you can click on that. But I'm under Texas Medium Shelby. And also, if you don't go to modernspiritual.com, or you forget that website, you can always just go to shelbycarino.com. And I have a session that's all about Keen.
Right.
And so, but I have Keen on from sun up to sundown.
Right.
So I'm on from usually when I wake up, 8 o'clock, I turn it on. And then I run it until about 9, 10 o'clock at night. And because I have Keen on as long as I run my energy, right? And the only time I'm not on is if I'm having to go someplace or something else is going on. Like, I don't have it turned on right now,
right?
Because we're doing this. but when I finish, I'll turn it back on. So I'm on every day.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
even when we were on vacation, I have it on.
Yeah.
My husband and I went and we were looking for land. We were literally in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and I had Keen on and had a phone call as we were driving in the middle of nowhere because we had this thing where I could boost a signal. So I'm always on because you never know. Like I was when we went on another trip this summer, we were in New Braunfels, and we were in Garner State Park, and we were in the river. And I had my phone and I had Keen on, and client called me, and I was like, oh, I'm glad I kept my phone on because guess where I'm at right now? And I told them, and they were like, really? I said, so you must be needing this energy. So I'm tubing down the river, having a Keen session.
I haven't done the tubing down the river part, but I've had Keen sessions everywhere. I love the app. You guys can reach us on the app. It gives the advisors the freedom not to be chained to the desk.
The app is amazing.
Yep. And of course, I'm Aeson Knight everywhere. Like that's me. You can find me on Keen. You can find me on Modern Spiritual. You can find me over on Zodiac. It is Aeson Knight. It will have my picture. And, you know, you can click, you can connect, either phone call or chat. We don't have video yet. One of these days we will have video. And of course, you know, I've said in 10 years, we're going to be in hologram form.
Right?
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Right? I know. I'm going to have to prepare myself for that one.
I'm just going to have to try to figure out how not to reach over to the boyfriend sitting beside them and go, are you an idiot?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, hello, this person's waking up over here. Pay attention.
Exactly.
They're getting the information for you.
Yes.
You just have
Stop
to follow
acting like an idiot.
Right.
Yep.
Like, pay attention. And the Keen app is amazing. Like what I love about Keen is if people are scared to actually call, like that's too much, that's too personal, that's too connected. The texting feature where you can just text is amazing because it allows people to, like, you know, not be seen, but they still get the information. And sometimes that's a beginning place, or they just can't call because, you know, there's their boyfriends in the other room or their girlfriends in the other room or their kid is screaming in the background or, you know what I'm saying?
Or
and
the
they can
boss
just be
is
like,
sitting across them. I've had clients in board meetings ring me up and going, blah, 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 blah. What should I do? And I'm like, blah, 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 back. And they're having a full text conversation with me in the bathroom, in the board meeting, in the car. I do want to say this, though. Warn your psychic that you're in a moving vehicle when you get on the phone.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because otherwise we're going, because suddenly we're in the moving vehicle with you, and that's a gravity shift change.
That is so true. That is so true. Those are facts.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, honey, thanks for joining us on this launch party. Y'all guys go get the classes. Remember, they're good. They've been reviewed. You can contact us directly, and that's modernspiritualist.com. I almost said modern psychic. Modernspiritualist.com. Right? And we look forward to teaching you. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for hosting.
Anytime.
We'll see you guys in the classes.
Yes. All right.
Tell me the deck is stacked. You can whisper behind my back. You can show me how the odds are up against me all day long. But I've been through the fire and come out alive, and there's no more fear in my eyes. Oh, now I'm rising, and you can't bring me down. You can't stop me now.